Hey guys, in this video I have the Qanba N1 arcade stick sent to me by Banggood. This arcade stick has a design similar to the Hori Rio Arcade Pros, and this arcade stick works with PC, Mac, Android, and Raspberry Pi. And for those who haven't heard of Qanba, they're just another manufacturer of arcade sticks, competing with Hori, Mad Catz, Razer, and Mayflash, and a few others. They have many sticks in their product line, and their N1 model is an entry-level stick. It's not as nice as their flagship Obsidian, but the N1 is decent for casual button mashers. The finish on it is very glossy, so it's a huge dust magnet. I got it direct from China, and it came double boxed and then wrapped with a lot of packing tape. Inside you'll find lots of foam with the stick and a couple of hole plugs. The plugs are useful if you plan to remove some of the buttons and make it like a 4-button layout for Neo Geo games. Other than that, you probably won't be using these hole plugs. The enclosure is a translucent smoked plastic, and it does feel kind of hollow. They also come in another color, I think, a translucent red. It would have been better if it was a matte finish. Now, it uses standard arcade parts, so you can swap them out with Sanwa 30mm push buttons, or even a different JLF or JLW joystick. The stock hardware is actually pretty decent. The buttons aren't quite Sanwa, but very close. They are definitely better than the push buttons you get on some of those Pandora's boxes. They aren't as clicky and require very little force to activate them. And for fighting games, this is ideal. I actually find them more than adequate, so I'll probably stick with these buttons. If you want to swap them out, it's very simple. It's just a matter of unplugging the wires and then pitching the sides of the push buttons to release it from the hole. It features a nice palm rest that feels a lot nicer than some of the other boxy arcade sticks from Mayflash. Now, the cord management is really simple. You just bundle it up and shove it into the gap. I actually prefer this over dedicated compartments with a lid, because typically over time the lids will break or they'll go missing. And as I mentioned before, the enclosure is rather empty. There's definitely enough room inside to stuff a Raspberry Pi if you plan to make one of those Pi-powered arcade sticks if you want. So I've done a couple of other videos showing empty enclosures that you can buy to make your own arcade stick, but I think the N1 looks a little bit nicer and has better ergonomics. So this is an option for you if you don't like the other ones I've shown you. I use this stick primarily with my Raspberry Pi and my Mac running RetroArch. I didn't have any issues with setting it up, so I don't think you'll run into issues with Windows or even Android. If you plan to play a lot of arcade games, an arcade stick of this type is a must-have item. It just feels a lot better than a gamepad. One of the nice features of this stick is the turbo function. Now, turbo just pushes the button for you really fast. I use this quite a bit for my shmups like R-Type, Einhander, and even Mega Man 2. It basically auto-fires for me without me having to constantly push the button. The turbo function actually has two settings. You can have it activate turbo only when you push down the button, or you can have it activate without pushing the button at all, and it just auto-fires. And this way you can play one-handed with only the joystick. Okay, so basically there's a turbo button, and how you enable turbo is like this. You hold down the button and then you press the turbo once, and every time you hold it down it will auto fire for you, so you don't have to press it like that, just hold it down. And another method is you press the turbo button again, and now it will constantly auto fire for you without even actually pressing the button. To turn off, all you have to do is hold that and press the turbo button, and it turns off the turbo mode. So this arcade stick comes with a Sanwa JLW joystick clone, and it has a circular restrictor plate. It's a very personal choice as to which you prefer. Depends a lot on the type of game you play. I'm not a big fan of circular gates since I find it harder to do moves for fighting games like Street Fighter. I like to ride the gate to lock it into a position. And with a circular gate, you'll never really lock into a position and your stick kind of wanders. So sometimes I find myself pushing down when I mean to push forward or on side scrollers, since there isn't a notch to keep me in place on the restrictor plate. I much prefer a square or octagon gate, so I designed and 3D printed my own restrictor plates to fit this arcade stick with SketchUp. I used my DaVinci 1.0 and I printed it with ABS filament at 0.2 millimeter layer height, and they fit pretty good just like the original plate. You can obviously buy restrictor plates, but if you do have access to a 3D printer in about 30 minutes, it's really easy to print your own. The restrictor plates I designed should also work with the Sanwa JLW joysticks as well. Links to the STL on Thingiverse will be in the description if you want to print your own. The Qanba N1 is a great entry-level arcade stick with a nice slanted palm rest. It works with Android, PC, Mac, and Raspberry Pis. It's another option if you're looking for an arcade stick. It's not the best stick out there, but I do like the simplicity and look of it. Anyways, that's it for this video. Links to everything I mentioned should be in the description. And for a limited time, there is a coupon code to get $15 off if you use my link. Thanks to Banggood for letting me share this with you. Comment, like, share, subscribe, and you'll see me in the next video.